I'm Kate, and I'm going to teach you how to count your stitches and rows on your knitted fabric, whether it's stockinette or garter stitch fabric. And the really great thing about being able to count where you are in a stitch pattern is you don't lose your place in a stitch pattern. So if you don't remember what row you ended on, you can look at your fabric and then be able to figure out where you are in your pattern. It's really helpful. So first I'm going to teach you how to count your rows in stockinette fabric. And in stockinette fabric, each little V, you can see a V right here, each little V counts as one row. So if we're counting this lighter green stripe on this swatch, there is 1 V, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then there's 13 rows of this lighter green stripe. And also something that's really important to remember when you're knitting is your stitches that are currently on your needle, those stitches don't count as a row. So say that this is your swatch. These little loops on your needle, they aren't a row yet. Also, your cast on edge isn't a row yet when you're counting rows. Now on garter stitch fabric, that's when you knit and you purl, that's when you knit both sides of the fabric if you're knitting it flat. And so each ridge is actually 2 rows of knitted fabric. So you see how many rows there are? This is a ridge, and that's 2 rows. This is a ridge, that's 4 rows, and so on like that. And you would count each ridge like that. And sometimes garter stitch patterns will tell you just to count the ridges instead, so you need to be careful about whether the pattern says ridges, which means you just count the ridge, or rows, which means each ridge is 2 rows. Now if you turn stockinette fabric over, you see purl bumps. And each purl bump counts as 1 row. And you see that they kind of interlock together, like this stitch goes up to this stitch and so on. But you're just going to count all the way up in 1 column. So you can see this is the first purl bump in this row of the light green stripe. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then we got 13 again, just like before. Now the other thing that you need to learn how to count is your stitches. So stitches go across your knitting, and then the rows go up and down. And when you count your stitches, you can either count them on your needle, like this. This is 1 knit. Sorry, I'm counting from the way that it's facing me. This is 1 knit, 1 purl, 1 knit, 1 purl, 1 knit, 1 purl, and so on. And so you have 11 stitches total, because you can just count all of those loops on your needle. Or you can count just across your swatch. So each V counts as 1 stitch. So this is a stitch, this is a stitch, this is a stitch, and so on, and you can count that way. On the back side of your knitted fabric, you would just count purl bumps all the way across. So we're going to count these orange purl bumps because the stripe makes it easier to kind of isolate that out. So each little dash is a purl, and you just go all the way across and count them that way. And then in garter stitch fabric, you count the bumps, but only on one side of a ridge. So this one, this one, this one, this one, all the way across horizontally. And so that way you can know how many stitches are supposed to be in a repeat. So if you have too many stitches or too few stitches in a repeat, you know right away, and you know to take out that decrease or take out that increase that you accidentally made. And that's a really great way to make sure that your knitting is accurate and that it's easier to fix any kind of mistakes because you catch them right away.